The morning sun filtered softly through the dusty windows of the corner café. A warm breeze stirred the lace curtain as Mira wiped down the last table, humming a forgotten tune. It was nearly 7 a.m., and the regulars would begin shuffling in soon, clutching their mugs and stories like they did every morning. Mira loved this time, the quiet before the day truly began. Her apron was slightly askew, and her dark curls were loosely tied back, a few strands brushing her cheek as she moved swiftly from counter to table. Life hadn't been easy lately. Rent was late, her younger brother was unwell again, and her 2 jobs barely kept things from falling apart. But Mira smiled anyway. She believed in the power of kindness, because it had once saved her, and she never forgot. As the bell over the café door jingled, Mira looked up, expecting Mr. Gardner, the elderly man who always ordered a black coffee and stared into it like it held the answers to life. But it wasn't Mr. Gardner. Instead, a stranger walked in. He was tall, unshaven, with tired eyes and a worn jacket. The kind of person people often looked past on busy streets. He held a small plastic bag in one hand and the other stuffed in his pocket. For a moment, he just stood there at the entrance, uncertain. Mira smiled gently. "Good morning. Can I get you something to eat?" The man hesitated, his eyes scanning the empty café. Just a coffee. If that's okay." She nodded and turned to pour him a cup. "Cream or sugar?" "No, thank you. Just black." She placed the steaming mug in front of him, then added a small plate of toast and jam beside it. "On the house," she said, sensing his pride might make him refuse. He looked down at the plate, then back up at her, confused. "I didn't ask for this." "I know," Mira said softly. "But I thought you might be hungry." He stared at her for a long second before whispering, "Thank you." She just smiled and turned back to the counter, letting him eat in peace. But she watched from the corner of her eye. He was eating slowly, savoring every bite like it had been days since his last meal. Maybe it had. The next morning, the man returned. And the morning after that. Each time, Mira greeted him with the same kindness, offering toast, a smile, sometimes even a warm bowl of oatmeal when the mornings were cold. Eventually, he told her his name. Daniel. He'd been a construction worker until an accident on the job site left him with a broken leg and no insurance. By the time he healed, his job was gone, his apartment locked, and his savings drained. He slept in a nearby shelter now, picking up odd jobs when he could. He didn't tell her these things to ask for sympathy, just to explain. And Mira listened, not judging, just being present. Weeks passed. One evening, after her shift, she found Daniel waiting outside. "I want to thank you," he said. "For treating me like a person when I felt invisible." "You are a person," Mira replied simply. He smiled and reached into his jacket. "I finally saved up a little. I want to pay you back for all those breakfasts." But Mira shook her head. "You already did. Every time you came back, every time you shared your story, that was worth more than money." Something in Daniel's eyes shifted. Hope, maybe. Or gratitude deeper than words. Months rolled on. Daniel disappeared for a while. Mira worried, but she had no way to find him. Life went on. She worked, cared for her brother, and hoped he was okay. Then, one chilly afternoon, just as the trees turned orange with fall, he walked back into the café. But this time, he wasn't wearing the same worn jacket. He looked different, cleaner, steadier, more confident. Behind him stood 2 other men, carrying papers and laptops. "I hope you remember me," he said. Mira blinked. "Daniel?" He laughed. "Yeah. It's me." She came around the counter to hug him, surprised at how steady he felt. "I got a job," he said. "And I started a small non-profit to help others like me, people who fall through the cracks. We call it Second Cup." We offer meals, job training, and housing help. I want you to meet the team. Myra's eyes filled with tears. That's amazing. He looked around the cafe and then back at her. And I want to partner with this place. If you're willing. I remember what your kindness meant to me. I want others to feel that, too. The cafe became the first official partner site of Second Cup. Volunteers served free breakfasts each morning. Mira trained young people in hospitality, many of whom were once in Daniel's shoes. And every day, a growing line formed outside the cafe, not just for food, but for warmth, safety, and a place to be seen. And the most beautiful part? No one knew that a tiny act of kindness, an extra slice of toast and a smile, had been the seed. Mira never asked for recognition. She simply kept showing up, doing what she always did. Believing in people. Believing in second chances. Because sometimes, the smallest things spark the biggest change. And kindness is never wasted.